Sexy inking, bow chicka bow bow. Hey everyone, welcome to Hatchback Studios. Art T Bear here. We're going to do something a little different today. The camera's on my drawing board. Let me show you, just so you know that I'm not joking around. This right here, this be my drawing board. All right, so I'm going to do some stuff on it today. Some drawing, some sexy inking. Hope you guys have a little bit of time, hang out with me. Hold on for a sec. I had something in my tooth. I just ate. There's a local Mexican restaurant, and they sell tortilla chips, and we get them. We supply, or we give them our money, and they make us tortilla chips, and they're absolutely delicious. And wow, StreamYards is really on a delay because all of a sudden about 10 of you showed up in my StreamYard chat. So welcome everybody. I see we have Kevin. Kevin, what's up? What's up, my friend? Clap, clap, clap. Wave, wave. Oh, it's a wave. It's a wave. He's doing the wave. I borrow ideas. What's up, man? We have Oni64, Hell Brethren, Hell, Death Metal. What's up, Luke? RT Bear bringing sexy inking back. Yeah, somebody had to. May as well be me, right? The original sexy inker, RT Bear. Tweet that out to all your friends and neighbors. I'm still trying to get some of that stuff out of my teeth. Sorry. It's so weird. Okay. Oh, hey, Pedro. What's up, man? Now I know who Pedro is. Pedro is an animator, and he draws in an animation style, and he's going to be doing a book soon. So I dig your work, brother. Let me know how that brush works out. I'm going to be doing some brush work, actually, for you today, Pedro. I got my brush. Let me show you. It's my tool. It's my weapon of choice. I don't know if this, let me see which one this is. I have two different kinds. This is the Winsor Newton Series 7, number 2, watercolor brush. And they are indeed sexy. Hail Merciful Fate. We got Sierra Whiskey. What's up, man? We got to hang out soon. I miss you and Pixel Trader. We didn't have WonderCon this year to hang out. So, maybe we should hang out or wear our masks, and we'll keep our 6-foot distance, and we'll yell at each other from across the room, because that's how you have to be these days. The drawing broad, what? Just kidding. The drawing board was around when the first drawing was drawn. All right, we got Todd's Truth. What's up? Hell Tortillas. Or tortillas. Hey, we got King Crow. Ka-ka. Ka-cra. Oh. You know what I should do? I should try to show you that. I have a little bit of a bird story. So I should share that. Let me see if I can find this image. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. A few days ago, what was it, Friday night? I was out in the yard, and Amanda, my daughter, was walking around, and she found this little bird. And the bird he was born, I guess, without like a wing. And it looked like the tail feathers were slightly kind of, I guess, just not fully developed yet. So the little bird was cute as can be, but it just didn't have a full wing. And I think if it had the wing, it would have been able to fly, because it actually, with that partial wing, it got about a foot and a half maybe. And so we figured it had been kicked out of its nest. the mama bird, I think it was in the area because you could hear it because they have the same tone and the same sound. Like you can tell a bird just by their chirps. And so let me screen share, see if I can find this. And we got this little fella right here. And Amanda called him. You can kind of see the one little wing, the little feather sticking out here. And she called him Nemo, like Finding Nemo, because Nemo had that tail fin or whatever, or that one fin that was underdeveloped or bit off or whatever the heck the story was. I don't know. I didn't really like the movie, but anyway, so yeah, she was like, he's not going to make it out here, right? And I go, well, I'm not sure he's going to make it even if we took him, but he might have a better chance if we did bring him in. So we kept this guy alive for about a day and a half. And so we brought him in. I got him to eat the first day. So the first day he ate a lot. And what we did is we liquefied like biscuits, like cat treats. And we looked, they actually will eat that. So we liquefied it and I smashed it up and then just kind of shoved it down its throat and it ate. And the first day it was, still chirping and still kind of okay. It was weak when we got it though. It maybe was out there for a day or so, and it doesn't take long for them to dehydrate. And I think they eat every couple hours and stuff. So it's real hard to keep them alive. So we kept them good for the first day. And then my wife got up every 2 hours to make sure he was all right. We had like grass and we tried to recreate an environment for him. We had a electric heating blanket underneath we had him in a bucket. And so it kept it, reasonably warm. Not that it was getting cold at night, but they said you want to keep them warm. So we kept him warm. We woke up, he was doing pretty good. He wouldn't eat first thing in the morning, but a little bit later around lunchtime, I got some stuff down his throat. We actually went out and got some baby bird food. And he didn't like that as much as the biscuit stuff, the cat biscuits. So, we kept trying different things. We were mixing it with hummingbird food. We have hummingbird. It's just a liquid, just like a sugar water. And he liked that. So he did pretty good the next day. But then towards the end, he wasn't doing really well. He was kind of getting weak, and he was pretty much dying. And when they go, man, they go pretty fast. So within a couple hours, he was just kind of laying on his side, and he had like heavy breathing and stuff. So he didn't make it. So that was kind of our weekend. We had this little guy, and we were worried about him all weekend, trying to take care of him, keep him alive. And it was a little sad, man. It's amazing how you can get attached to these things pretty quickly. And so the family, we all stepped up and we tried our hardest to keep that thing alive. But I think it was just, that thing was too far gone when we got it. And also, I just don't know how they do in captivity. So let's see what this is. Spirits Car, one of my favorite chatters. I felt bad about having Charlie ask you what it was like seeing the Chaplin films in the cinema. No, dude, it was funny. It was hilarious. Then you did your pontificated show. I didn't feel bad anymore. Oh my gosh, dude. Did you see the show? I don't know how much of a car wreck it was, but apparently I was drinking. Okay, I was drinking, and I think within a short period of time, I drank about 2/3 of that bottle. And so we were having a good time. I hope everybody in the chat was having a good time. And I think it was one of the best pontificators we had done. And then we found out that Chester Busby III was related, or so he says, to, oh my gosh, Jennifer Connelly. So he was getting all defensive and like, don't show Jennifer Connelly, like we were supposed to respect her somehow, you know. And so, not that we were really like, you know, making fun of her or anything, but we were putting sexy pictures up of her and things like that. So he started getting really uncomfortable. And so he had brought up earlier, what is her name? Phoebe Cates. So I kept going, it's okay to show her, Phoebe Cates, but not her, Jennifer Connelly. And so it was kind of driving Chester crazy. And so the nearest I can think is we were showing those images maybe a little bit too much. And either somebody complained about the context or the content, because we were a little more racy than usual, and or it was the images. But I don't know, man. Images is weird. Like, really, we got these images from the internet. Why would you get all crazy about us showing images? They weren't moving images. They were just, you know, photographs. And so anyway, we just got banned. They just took it down altogether. I still don't even have a notification. It's like it just disappeared off of YouTube, off the face of the earth. So if you guys want to see really racy content and stuff that maybe YouTube doesn't want you to see, check out Pontificators Live every Friday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And watch us get booted off. It's so funny because we were kidding about it for God, ever since the show started, that Chester was going to get us banned from YouTube, and he didn't, but it was because of his relative. We got banned. I do believe it was because we were showing the sexy Jennifer Connelly images. That we got pulled from it. So if you guys want to see that show and see us get crazy, then watch it live, because I can't see things changing too much, because I think we're on a roll and we're finding our spot. So we're going to start getting more racy. We're just going to let our hair down, man. We're just going to talk about any crap, anything that comes to mind. Oh, there's Albino. I should have him on. He could tell his story. You tell the story about how we got banned from YouTube. Let me know, Albino, if you want to come in. It's going to be a drawing stream, so I could probably use some help. So Pedro says, I did a fan art of Black and White, the animated series. You did? Well, where did you send it to me? If so, where did you send it? I'll show it off right now. That's very cool, man. I would like to see that very much. Okay, so Mike Wilson Art says, "Hail Art." Wait, is Kami Mark in? Oh, there's Kami Mark. Hey, Kami Mark, thanks for having me on your show the other day. It was a great show, and you got a good bunch of guys that hang out with you, man. It was very, very entertaining and a lot of fun. So I'd love to have you on the show here, or if you want me back, I'd go hang out with you guys in a heartbeat, as they say. Sierra Whiskey says, I know, man. No WonderCon is a bummer. That was a drag. COVID is a scam. I really, really, really want to agree with you, King Crow. But I don't want everybody to crucify me, because if you speak out and say that COVID might be over-exaggerated and overplayed, for some reason people will double down and say, how dare you, people are dying. It's like people die from the flu every year. Like nobody cared about that the year before. So I don't know. I don't want to go on a tangent here. What happened Friday night? Let's see if we can get, let's see if Albino will come in. You know what? I'm just going to send the invite to him. He can come in if he wants. And then maybe he can get it. Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh. It's allergy season. I hate to do that. It's rude. Bear with me for a minute. I am sending the Buns of Thunder a link. He's like, the Kiss has got that God of Thunder song. Well, this is the Buns of Thunder and rock and roll. All right. My link has been sent, brother. If you want, just click it, come in. If not, no big deal. No problem. So let me see if I can catch up and then start drawing for you guys. No, I did not. That's rude, man. I think they like it, some sugar. I mean, I don't know. Now you got me thinking. Yeah, I'm grooming birds just like people groom people. Art is the bird man. Okay, so we got Art, father of the birds. That is sexy. I don't think you're talking about the birds, maybe some of the inking. But let's see what Art, how bad was your hangover the morning? You know what? Oh shoot, that's right. I went over to Michael Bancroft's show and I did a little bit more drinking on his show. I think I was pretty like I was slurring. I don't know. You don't really have too much self-awareness when you're pretty drunk. But actually, there was no hangover. I felt really good waking up. I did a show first thing in the morning with Philip Diaz, Zaid Comics. I woke up bright and early and did a show because I'm a true professional. And Michael Bancroft, those guys are cool too. I like going on that show. There's a lot of great YouTubers out there. No, stop it. Poor bird. Pamela was telling me about it. Yeah. We did what we could, but I at least it went out, comfortable, I guess, as comfortable as you could get. And it wasn't eaten by some critter because it probably would have been eaten alive. Things don't live very long out here. We're not exactly in the wilderness, but if there's something weak out there, something will eat it. And actually, while I was out there and we were rescuing the bird, there was a pack of coyotes that were just running down the street, like right in the middle of the street. They just ran by me. I was like, oh, okay. You all were drinking, and Joe was savage. Yeah, Joe is always savage. We usually drink, but I was drinking bourbon whiskey, and I was drinking a lot of it. I think by the time I got over onto Michael's show, I was just drinking it out of the bottle. I wasn't even pouring it in a glass. Jennifer Connelly is hot, and she's still a pretty handsome lady. She was in Battle Angel Alita, and she still looked pretty good. I was laughing at the show. I thought it was pretty entertaining, man. When you drink, your channel, you channel the Portuguese side. Oh, really? That's funny. The best cliffhanger ending. Yeah, because I guess it just stopped, right? The show just got pulled. It's easy to false flag since YouTube is run by AI, even more sense. Yeah. I know. So it's weird. I didn't think we were acting that inappropriately, but the only thing we could think of is that it was probably because the photos were staying up. Either that or we were clicking back and forth, because I was doing it just to irk Chester. I was going back and forth like, this doesn't bug you, but this does. This doesn't bug you, but this does. That sucks. It was pretty funny. I appreciate it, man. We're gonna have to step up for this weekend. Also, at the beginning we had Mike Barron come in, and he was pretty funny too. So that's a shame, just because Mike Barron doesn't do a lot of these shows. So it was a shame just because no one's going to get to see Mike Barron at the beginning of the show. The stream vanishing was a blessing for everybody. That's pretty funny. I think it was the half-naked one that did it, LOL. Yeah, it was like, what was it? Like Jennifer Connelly looking at herself in a mirror or something, and then she had her hand strategically over her boob, I guess. Yeah, that might have did it. Cam 1138, what's up? What's up? I should start drawing soon because I got a lot of work to do. Karakin, I do what I do. Attractive women are not allowed anymore. Apparently, Kevin, who do we talk? We got to change this, man. Yeah, and Hollywood doesn't have a problem with it as long as they can make money off it. Advertising and Hollywood are the worst offenders, and now they're the biggest virtue signalers out there. How dare they? They actually turned it into an art form, and now they're getting all uppity about it. Oh, there he is. All right. Hey, Joe, what's up, man?
Oh, it's just another Monday. Another manic Monday. How you doing?
All right, I want to show this. It's not whiskey, though. I saw your face, Joe. You're like, what? No, not again.
Is that iced tea?
Yeah, it's iced tea. So Joe, you're way better at the blow-by-blow. So you want to give a blow-by-blow of Friday before we got kicked off?
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. We started off, I believe, with getting Mike Barron on the show.
Yes.
And we were all drinking various beverages, and so Mike decided he needed to join in the fun.
Oh, that's right. He got like a martini or something, right?
I think he was drinking wine out of a martini glass, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's right. That's right. See, that's why you need to recount the story.
So, yeah, we were talking about Florida Man for a while, having a great time. And then I'm trying to remember where we went, because Mike had to go.
I think Mike went because we started talking about like politics or something.
That's possible. I was trying because couldn't remember if we were talking about something in the U.S. specifically, or if it was more globally, tied to the beer bug and all of that. But we talked, I don't know, for maybe another hour or so about comic book stuff and things going on in the world. And then we somehow got to Jennifer Connelly through some convoluted oh yeah, thank you, D Geek Art. She said we were talking about pervy guys or something, and the double standard there is in entertainment. So yeah,
how could you forget that, my friend? It was your title. What was it?
It was sex pests in the comic industry.
Sex pests, and then in our own way, we all became sex pests on the show.
D Geek says she remembers because she was sober. I also was sober. I was definitely enjoying my bourbon, but yeah, I couldn't remember, because the thing is, we had something like 5 different topics that I had suggested before the show started,
and we didn't do any of them.
Well, we did sex pests. We did Florida Man, because I had suggested that we do a little spotlight on Florida Man and Black and White Second Chance campaigns. And yeah, thank you, Sheldon Martin. He says we were bringing up hot ladies from the 50s through the 70s. And I think how we got there was, as D Geek was saying, we had started on talking about the last, well, at that point, it was Friday, so it would have been like a week and a half of reports about different comics professionals who have been called out publicly for inappropriate behavior.
Oh yeah, cancel culture
and everything. We started with kind of showing the wide range of behaviors that are all getting lumped under the same umbrella. So on one hand, you have Warren Ellis, who was essentially canceled for having flirtatious conversations with consenting adults. I don't know if anything has been added to that in the last few days, but then
I do remember taking a pledge. We all took a pledge.
Oh yeah,
we all put our hand
in
our heart and our other hand over our heart.
we all took we went. I think we went round robin style, taking various pledges that all had absolutely nothing to do with bending the knee to social terrorists.
But didn't we read who wrote the one that was like the code of conduct?
Chester read out the pervert's pledge to not pervert, or I don't know what the real title is, but it was that graphic that someone sent around Twitter, and the usual cancel culture cheerleaders were pressuring various pros to put it out and sign on to it through Twitter. Like Tom King did it, Scott Snyder did it, a whole bunch did it.
Well, we did it, so we fell in line.
Well, yeah, Chester read it out word for word, and if I remember correctly, maybe some of our friends in the chat can check me on this, but I seem to recall that we went through it bullet point by bullet point, and I think we all pledged something in defiance of each bullet point.
Yeah, we all pledged to never ever read this. And again, that was the absolute most insanity. Like, what is going on, Joe? Why do guys? I mean, is virtue signaling that much business now? I mean, are these guys scoring points with people? Like, what is this?
Yeah, and if I remember correctly from the show, I had said I think there are two motivations for the guys that are claiming that they're signing on to this ridiculous thing. And it seems to me like it's either they are perverts who are afraid that they're going to get caught out, or some of them, I'm sure, were not even what regular people would call perverts. They just did something crass or made some vulgar comment or something like that, or maybe they have a pattern of that sort of thing when they're supposed to be behaving professionally or in a professional manner out in public at conventions and whatnot.
So you're saying it's like a preemptive, like, look, I'm a good person, I would never.
Yeah, I think one motivation is, I'm so virtuous and I'm going to prove it. And when I prove it by taking this pledge and telling everyone else they should do the same, then you'll never suspect me for my bad behavior. I think that's one group.
It is pretty clever because no one would ever see through that.
Yeah, it's quite a camouflage.
Yeah, it's like as soon as somebody says, I would never do that, I totally believe them.
So
hey, Joe, you got kids. I'm not, don't have to get into too much detail, but that's such a kid thing, right? It's like, I would never have fed, the goldfish a chocolate bar. You know what I mean? Like it's so stupid. It's like, I would never do that. Yeah, of course you did. And so the candy bar just got in the water tank. You know what I mean? Like nobody else, maybe mom did it. I don't know.
I do have these kinds of conversations with my
I know
kids.
that's why I brought it up. But it's the same stupid ass shit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, in a way, I occasionally envy you now having your kid grown up, because you and she have had some conversations on live streams where you guys will talk about something that happened when she was growing up. and she's now an adult, so she can look back on it and say, yeah, I didn't like what you were saying or doing as a parent back then, but looking back on it, I'm really glad that you and mom did blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, mine are still very young, and so I got a long way to go before I even have a chance of possibly having one of those conversations with any of mine.
Yeah, but the few times we've hung and just hanging out on the live streams, you're a good guy, and I'm sure your wife is amazing as well. So those kids will be amazing.
Oh, I do have the benefit of a lot of people who, whether it's neighbors or family or friends or teachers, they're all very complimentary with, though we have the nerve to hold on to such outdated traditional values such as discipline and personal responsibility and other related nonsense.
Yeah, that is nonsense. How dare you?
But D Geek Art said that she sent you Pedro's black and white artwork in your Facebook Messenger. So
Okay,
if you
actually
had wanted to share that, if you get a chance when your ink is drying, maybe you can grab it.
Yeah, I have D Geek Art did a tribute to the first black and white 1994 cover as well. Let me see if I can find this, and I will share it. Hey, Joe, can I just share it right on Facebook? Can I do that, or do I have to download it somewhere?
Well, I don't use Facebook anymore. I haven't for a long time, but I think as long as you don't have any of your personal info in your tab or your window, you can, in StreamYard, you can choose to share the application tab.
Okay.
And as long as you just double check that it's only the picture and any like header information it's okay to show publicly, then you should be able to share just that.
Okay.
And while you're checking that out, DKFC Gaming for $5. Thank you very much for supporting Art's channel. Says, love watching artists create. Here's a donation. Black and white, ordered the other day.
Oh, thank you so much, DKFC Gaming. You are the best. Thank you. And anybody who is watching or part of this is how you do it, you guys. Follow DKFC Gaming's example and just start flinging money at me in the chat. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, this artwork is amazing.
You showed a progress shot on Friday Night Art, and it was looking good from D Geek.
Oh yeah. They're both amazing. Hold on, I'm gonna screen share. Look at that. This is Pedro.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, dude, this is so cool.
That is cool. It's got kind of Pedro, are you a Mega Man fan by any chance? Because some of the proportions and a little bit of the facial design reminds me of some Mega Man animation I've seen. That looks really good.
All right, Pedro, I just have I only have one thing. White has a white little tattoo shape on the opposite cheek. So she mirrors Reed. So you got Reed's black shape there. Just fling one over on White's face as well. And then we'll have sweet perfection. Oh my gosh, this is so cool, dude. I am so flattered. Look at those guns. That's awesome. Pedro, would you mind if I send this to my animation partner? I know he's going to flip out when he sees this. This is so good. I actually like that that shoulder design too, where it goes into the point. It's like one shape.
Pedro says he'll make the correction and he wouldn't mind at all if you shared it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So yeah, hers is on her left. It would be our right cheek.
Wow, look at that. You even got the gun sight in there. I imagine there's more to the artwork. This got cut off too. If you could send me the full image, I'll send it to my animation partner.
And Pedro, if you want me to, I can take my copy of Black and White off the shelf and hold White's face up to the camera. But if you already have reference, then cool.
Yeah, it's just the same shape, just on the opposite cheek. Wow, look at that.
It's great, man.
Gosh. I am so flattered, my friend. Thank you so much. Can I might do something with this, because we might have just found our artist for the animated Black and White comic.
Ooh.
Ooh.
He got the eye color too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, he nailed it. I like the bombs and everything. I almost like some of the design art better. Like the shoulder pieces and the straps are pretty cool.
The only real question I have is, where are her organs?
Oh yeah, that's the criticized. Yeah. What happened? Why?
Well, they're inside her body.
Yeah, believe it or not, people, there are human beings that look like this. I mean, the thing is, like, when you look at Chris Evans, and you're just like, holy shit, that guy has a superhero body. Like, that's real, you know?
Yep, absolutely. You know, one of my favorite moments was when Milo Manera was catching so much heat for that Spider-Woman cover that has her climbing up over the edge of the building. And if I remember correctly, that is where the whole "where are her organs" and "women don't look like that" and all that really started to catch on. And I loved it. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was the Mr. and Mrs. Biggins who did this, where she, after all the criticism about women don't look like that and it's impossible to assume that pose and blah, 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 she replicated the pose. Biggins took the picture and then they put it on Twitter. And Twitter almost overloaded because Mrs. Biggins is a very attractive lady, and she proved that she could not only the human body can assume that pose if you're in shape and you're flexible, but as far as I know, she's got all of her organs.
Yeah. And the thing is, Milo uses photographic reference a lot.
And
so he probably got that pose from an actual human being.
And he takes pictures with his models who pose for him. And he thanks them, he's like, hey, you guys like my art, here's the inspiration. And so it's the whole thing is so silly.
It's ridiculous, but look at this. Oh my gosh, thank you, Pedro. This thing is so cool. This is going to make the rounds. And I know this is kind of cropped weird, so I'm pretty sure that Reed's foot is in there and stuff. So if you send me the whole thing, I'll send it along to my animation partner, John, and see what he has to say. And then maybe we can start getting the ball rolling for an animated, comic book based on the comic, the comic characters that I'm working on now. Because I guess the cartoon or the cartoon black and white version would be based on the animated pitch that we're putting together. I should say it that way. It's probably a better way to say it. And then we have the fantastic D Geek art. Look at this. This is based on the first cover. Look at that explosion. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
She's got a killer style. Like everything she draws, it has like this the style, the faces and things. And she nailed the attitude. And then she even, because it's her style. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I like artists that can even though they're mimicking something or based on something, they can bring their own style into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and she definitely did. I love this.
My kids would love seeing a black and white book in that style. I mean, they really love your art, but it's a little overwhelming for them because they are so young.
Yeah.
It's to them, it's like, oh wow, cool, but I can't, they can't really. They're not old enough to really understand what's going on.
Right.
But if you've got something like this, with what Pedro or D Geek did, where everything is simplified and you really distill everything, all the storytelling, and you don't have all of the extra stuff that we as adults, we like all of that stuff. But for kids, it's got to be really simple and easy to absorb. And I love seeing stuff like Ethan doing a children's book version of Cyberfrog, Pillowman and Blanket Boy,
The Littlest Umbrella.
Yeah, I love seeing all of these different versions and then family friendly titles and stuff. It's really good to see.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much, and thank you D Geek Art for sending that along. I'm so overwhelmed with your generosity and the artwork. Crazy, man, crazy good. Black and white cosplay. I'm going into the chat here. Let me fix the tattoo. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you so much, man. And I will shop that around. And if you have time and we can get the timing worked out, it'd be neat to see if you could put some comic book storytelling together, and then maybe we can crowdfund a black and white animated version. That would be cool. Oh wait, Pablo Romero Art says I don't believe in organs. Yeah, me neither. Organs are they're overplayed, man. They're just overrated.
Well, they were really popular until about the 1950s, 1960s, and then the craftsmanship that goes into manufacturing organs, especially pipe organs. The knowledge was kind of lost and wasn't passed on to further generations. So while the piano is still very popular, those organs, you don't see time anymore. It's a shame, really.
Holy shit! I was like, "Where are you going with that?" And then finally it paid off, and I was like, "Oh god!" I was like, Joe just lost it. Hey, Joe, you probably don't want to hang out with me because I'm just going to mess up your whole delivery and the way you talk. Because
no, it's cool, man.
I stumble around all the time.
It's nothing but good times.
Yeah, people are always like, "What the hell's Art talking about?"
Oh, and DKFC Gaming, your newest patron, he was saying that the name stands for Doomsday Kingdom Fan Community. He became a huge fan of their Ronnie Hayes and James Milne project.
Oh, cool.
And he said that led him to Comicsgate and Talented Creators and Artists. And then he says, Adam Post, Kami Mark, my favorite, Duper Hero, Captain F-Head, now Art, very cool and fun community of people.
I got to meet, I was on a stream with Captain F-Head the other day. And yeah, I like him a lot. He's a cool dude.
He cracks me up. I've never gotten to stream with him, but yeah, I see him in chats a lot, and he's a character.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cool people in this community. I really enjoy it a lot. I'm gonna get out the brush now. Oh, you guys can see this. This is I got a little bit of time yesterday. Is that I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see if this is in focus or not. Let me get my glasses on. Oh yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, it's coming through.
Yeah, this is going to be the drawing for the black and white. headshot in the tier on the campaign.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm drawing a little bit more that's going to be than is actually going to be there, but it's going to have that gun sight across here in the background, and it'll be put together like the Vampirilla drawing that I'm doing right now. And actually, you know what? I should give you guys a context to it and go and do my my showing off of the site real quick. Yeah, I'm not really that prepared today. All right, share it. I am sharing it. All right, so we have Black and White Volume 1, Second Chance. We are at 20,311. We have 307 backers, which is awesome. We still have 20 days left, but we are starting to wind down. We're almost into the middle phase. So we have this piece of artwork right here. So this is the piece of artwork that's going to define or is defining this campaign. So I thought I'd do a new piece so it set it apart from the original campaign a little bit. And so we are offering the Total Bot Annihilation as a poster, an oversized 24 by 36 inch poster. And those will come signed. We are also going to do it as a sticker. So you're going to get an oversized sticker. I think it's 3 by 3 of the Total Bot. And the Total Bot artwork was colored by the great Kyle Ritter. And so then all the books will also come with that artwork in the form of a trading card. So we have these cool trading cards that every one of the tiers is going to come with absolutely free. So if you back the main featured tier, 3 books plus poster, you'll get a trading card. If you buy the standard edition, you'll get a trading card. If you buy the Total Annihilation poster, you'll get a trading card. And the Vampirilla Black and White commemorative anniversary trading card. Even if you buy the Grey Capullo Virgin cover, trading card. And the Killer Bot tier, we only have 1 left, and you'll get a trading card plus everything in the campaign, which is very, very cool. And it's the only place, it's the last of the original Grey Capullo variant. So we have 2 versions. We have the original one from the original campaign, which is on the left here. And then we have the new Grey Capullo Virgin cover, and that's for this campaign. So we still have plenty of the Virgin covers, but only 1 left, and it's only available in the Killer Bot tier, you guys. So please come by, check it out, and then I'm gonna show you the stretch goal goodies real quick. So we got stretch goal goodies, which are all from the original campaign. So we have trading card, 3 button set. We have the 2 embroidered patches. We have the mini print. We have the double-sided bookmark and the new sticker, the 3 by 3 Total Bot Annihilation sticker. So you can get that in the Killer Bot tier or as an add-on. So we have a bunch of sold out tiers. We just added 3 pages of artwork. So you have my wife to thank for this. She wanted to get more entry-level pricing on some of the pages. So the pricing is going to range anywhere between $200 and maybe for some of the splashier stuff and covers $1,000 or so.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so we got $330, and then we have the $550, and the pages with black and white on them are going to go for a little bit more, but these other pages are killer. And the fun thing about getting these pages is they're from the original 1994. So these are not remastered. These are not the versions of these pages that are in the book that you're going to get in this in those tiers.
Oh wow!
So I think it'll be fun to kind of compare, where I was creatively in 1994 and where this new volume 1 version led us to. So there's a lot of new stuff, a lot of redrawn stuff, and I think it'll be fun to compare it. And I've never made this artwork available before, so this is the first time the 94 work is being being, available to people. So very, very cool. So you guys, please check it out. The link is in the description, and I will come back and I'm going to start using a brush. Adam Post, good to see you. DK, what is it? DKFC Gaming? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you say that stands for?
Let me scroll back up so I don't mix up
Oh, we got Diller Draws. Hey, brother.
Doomsday Kingdom Fan Community.
Oh, cool. All right. I'm going to click this, go back. I got my brush. So let's see what we can do here. So ultimately, Joe, who do you blame for the pontificator's debacle last Friday?
Well, I would say it only reached debacle status when YouTube pulled our stream, so I blame YouTube.
Okay. Well, that's good because I blame Chester. Because I think it was Chester's goal from the beginning. Because remember, like he's always saying, yeah, I'm going to get you, demonetized, or I'm going to get you canceled.
That is a persistent and publicly stated goal. It is true.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm no cop. I'm not saying that was what do they call that? Not an alibi, but when you basically
motive.
Yeah. So I'm not saying, we're going to have to do some detective work here, but I blame Chester.
Well, it is true that he was very uncomfortable with his second cousin, I believe he said she is.
And that's Jennifer Connelly.
Jennifer Connelly, yeah.
I can see the resemblance.
Yeah, particularly in the testicular area.
Testicular.
So he was quite uncomfortable, which I recall you getting a big kick out of showing the picture more frequently based on his rising level of discomfort. So because his discomfort led you to show the picture many more times and with higher frequency, I blame Chester.
Okay. I thought you were going to go like I blame Art, but I'm glad you said Chester.
No, not
because
at all.
I mean, it's almost like Chester was possessing me to do that. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like I was in control of my own actions. It really felt like there was something else, maybe something from, where is he from? Japan, coming through and forcing me to do what I did.
He might have been using some sort of ninja mind trick on you.
I think that's probably what it was. I'm just saying that, you know what? We shouldn't underestimate Chester because I think he's capable of great evil. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he definitely does give off a mad genius type of vibe. And considering how much time he spends on YouTube talking about various conspiracy theories, and he seems to have a very, very deep knowledge of that sort of thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was speaking from personal experience and just had it in for you this whole time.
Yeah, and for me and us, like
our whole show, we all got hit.
Yeah, like we went down together, man. And you know what? I think the more we talk about this out loud, the more it's making sense.
Yeah, well, there's something to be said for, calmly, rationally looking back at the events when you're not right in the middle of them. And
sober.
So I think after a close analysis of all of the available information, I think we can safely blame it all on Chester.
This cracks me up that you're saying this, Joe, because I know you're saying this under protest because Joe is the nicest guy I've ever met. Joe's just like, please don't hold this against me, just.
Well, Chester gives me enough hassle every week that I think he can forgive me if I return volley once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Chester would be the first one to think that everything we're saying right now was hilarious.
Well, you know, what's funny is that we going back to our conversation Friday night, we were with the chat, you know, going kind of looking at whether it was the whole sex pest topic, whether it was Warren Ellis, which by all available information seemed to be relatively harmless, to the other end of the spectrum. You know, there was Scott Alley, former Dark Horse EIC, who had committed at minimum one verified sexual assault, but had this very long history of behavior as reported by many people, many witnesses, and Scott Alley himself. And then you had all kinds of stuff in between, Cameron Stewart, and the list went on and on and on. And we were discussing how not only is it a problem that there were these incidents happening for so many years by so many different people, and we were all positive that more names are going to come out. But then you also have the problem of an awareness in the comic industry by so many people of what was going on, and yet so few people who had ever tried to step in and help the victims or to report what had happened, to ask for an investigation or anything like that. There's very little action taken compared to the number of reports. And then you have this kind of virtue signaling behavior of other pros saying, oh yeah, I've known for years, or I've known for decades, or I've known for this and that. Isn't it horrible? And well, did you ever try to help the person? Did you ever try to improve the situation, or try to look for a solution to a problem that you've seen for all these years? No? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So then you should just keep your mouth closed at that point, because I think you just look like you kind of look horrible, because you could have maybe stopped it. You could have maybe changed the situation, but you didn't. And I have a Scott Alley story. I remember, I wouldn't say that I dislike him, but he was definitely one of those guys that was almost like too cool for school, like the way he acted.
Yeah.
And so I do remember that he was like anybody. This is okay. If there's any Dylan fans out there, I'm a Bob Dylan fan too, but there's a type of Bob Dylan fan. There's actually a type of Bruce Springsteen fan too that I don't like. They're almost like too, like, oh, this guy's like a god, like, you know what I mean? Like they worship him and they just think that they're the best things in the world. And at best, like I think there's some good songs, but I would never go, oh, you know what? Bob Dylan was a cool dude. It's just not my kind of cool, but right. They think they're like, oh my gosh, Dylan, oh, Bruce Springsteen, they're amazing. And yeah, I do like their music and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not like in hero worship mode. So he was like that. So I flew out to Dark Horse to pitch Scott Alley Chrono Mechanics in the day, because I thought like Dark Horse would be a good place for Chrono to have a home. And also I was looking for a place that like a publisher that maybe would get behind the property a little bit more. Like Image is kind of like, well, it's out. It's all up to you, but maybe a company that would market it and try to sell it and things like that. Right. So I flew down there. And so before I even went, my partner and I, we were putting together like these characters, or these people throughout time. God, I wish I still had it. So it's like the Last Supper.
So they're all standing around and they're all looking at a Chrono Mechanics comic. So we just kind of like Photoshop, the book into the painting.
Mhm.
So we did a series of like just famous paintings and famous moments throughout time, and we put a Chrono book in their hands. And so we kept sending those like for weeks before we went to the meeting with Scott Alley, just to try to like, look, we're funny, the book is interesting, that type of thing. And by the time we got there, or when we got there, he was so like, yeah, whatever. Like he didn't even give us an A for effort. You know what I mean? Like we were busting our hump coming up with all this stuff, trying to be funny and entertaining. And then he was almost like, yeah, I've seen this before. This is not that big a deal. Like he was not taken by it at all. And I was like, man, if somebody went through that kind of effort, I would at least give them a pity smile or something, like a laugh.
Right.
And he gave nothing. And so he was so dead serious through the entire, like we went out to lunch. I mean, it was nice. He took us out to lunch and paid for everything. It was nice. But then, he finally says, he goes, you know what? I don't think I'm the right person for this subject matter. And I was like, oh, well, you could have told us that before we flew out there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but the good thing is there's probably somebody at the office that might think that this is interesting. And I was like, oh man, ouch. Yeah. So, not that I wouldn't say that I disliked him, but he was definitely a hard nut to crack. You know what I mean? He was like one of those guys that you just can't make smile or laugh.
Right.
You throw out your best routines and there's just not even like a crack of a smile or anything. So that's really the only time I ever had spend too much time with Scott Alley. So, one might say he was a little dead inside,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't see that side of him, whatever's coming out now,
Yeah, the whole thing. There's a lot of talk about "quote unquote" reforming the comic industry, and if anything is going to get reformed, it needs to have the involvement of publishers and convention promoters and the creators who show up there and the fans who show up there. And if you're gonna try to fix this problem, then you're gonna have to get a whole lot of people cooperating, and it's not going to spontaneously happen. There's got to be some type of leadership involved. So, in my opinion, it starts with the publishers, and I don't think you're going to see publishers saying, okay, we'll reorganize the way our companies are structured so that all of these freelancers become staff employees, and we're going to create HR departments, and we're going to have all of our new staff employee creators go through all of this training, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the thing is, I still think it comes down to personal responsibility, and we do have laws. We do have laws against this kind of activity. It's against the law to molest somebody. It's against the law to rape somebody. It's against the law if you're in a place of power to use that power. Well, it's not against the law, but I think it's definitely against most places' policies. Most places of business. But I will say that. When you said HR departments, most comic book companies don't even have that.
Right.
Like if you had a complaint, there's really no place you could go other than your editor. And so, that could be a good start, because I think HR could also help the industry in other ways, not just in this way, because I do remember, when I was wrongfully fired at Marvel, like I had nowhere to go. Like who do I offer a complaint to? This is the power elite that fired me. You know what I mean? What grievancy? Where would I go to even file a claim? You know what I mean? There's nowhere to go, and that's why they do it. But you know what I mean? It would be a start to possibly to help out. But I don't think it will happen. And the next, it just comes to personal responsibility. Like, you know, just treat people the way you would want to be treated yourself. Don't be an asshole, you know. And then it's up to the person that's being treated like an asshole then to step up and to try to defend themselves. You know what I mean? Like if the silence is consent to some people, and if you don't say anything, then no one knows. And so, and don't wait like what is it, Bill Cosby, you know, 30 years later. I mean, do it when it's relevant. Get these guys up on on the charges, you know, have there be, you know, some kind of investigation. If there's HR, it's better. But what are they also have, my friend's dad did this for a living. They're like arbitrators, or like there's third parties that you can bring in, and that they can go over these cases and they can make an assessment and stuff like that. So it's not like, you know, the old boys network, you know, reaching a verdict or whatever, you know, if it doesn't, because like some of the stuff is just never going to get into court, and there's never going to be a legal matter, you know, or legal battle, just because it's a lot to do. But you can kind of deal with this stuff within the corporate structure of your company, you know, in various ways, which is also what we talked about on Pontificators, where they need to start doing that too. There needs to be a little bit of a hearing. There needs to be some kind of, you know, internal discussion before they start believing these stories too, because there could be some wrongfully accused people getting fired, you know, in the case of Johnny Depp. And there's been some of this stuff that has happened as well.
Yeah, and I'd like to see not only the people, if, you know, they've got a grievance, not only would I like to see them, you know, say something about it, and try and get it resolved, but then if some of these other pros are, you know, there and see it happen, then, you know, how about you step in and help your friend out?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how many of these little Twitter messages I've seen where somebody was talking about, oh, they knew it for all this time and they were there when it happened. Well, did you do anything to help your friend? No? Okay.
Well, yeah, then at that point, like I said earlier, you should just be quiet, because to virtue signal at this point, damage done. You know, you should have spoke up, you know, when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, said something. But they don't. And you know what? This isn't just the comics industry as well. You know, this is, you know, not to make it cliche, but you know, a tale as old as time. Like people in power, you know, abusing their positions. But I do think we do have to get to the point where we don't just believe one side over the other automatically. I do think that's a problem as well. I do think that there needs to be some kind of review. There does have to be some kind of internal investigation before we start firing people and canceling them based on hearsay, or, oh, you know, like Amber Heard, like, oh, well, she's a woman, she can't lie. I don't know when we signed off on this, but women can lie. I'm sorry if there's anybody out there that doesn't think that they can. Yeah, exactly. They can be self-serving and they can lie. So, you know what I mean? I just think that we have to get past this, like, just one-sided, you know, oh, we got this fact, it fits this narrative, so therefore guilty. You know, that's a scary place. That's the Salem witch hunts. That's,
that's all the things that have been bad throughout our history. And I think we're better than that. And we need to start, looking into the facts before we start creating a narrative. Just my, I don't want to get overly into politics, but the George, what's his name? Floyd. They were already saying it was racially motivated before anything had come out. And
Right.
I think that is dangerous, because what it does is it stops you from being able to see the truth. Because if you already have set in your mind that this is the way it is, and this is the truth, it was racially motivated. Then if it was motivated by anything else, then it becomes harder to see, because now you have to go against all the social or the media's version of, oh, it was racially motivated. And also with all these riots and stuff, anybody that was already signing off that it was racially motivated is naturally going to double down, because they don't want to look like idiots or like liars. So now it almost forces them to defend their position, even though they could be wrong. And that's why we need to stop making these knee-jerk analysis, and we need to stop, especially acting on it, because acting on it, these are people, these are human beings. We do have due process, and we do have law. And so, my other favorite in the whole George whatever is that that they were like, no peace, no justice, or no justice, no peace. It's like, there was justice. That guy was arrested. That's our form of justice, right? And there's going to be a trial. He'll probably go to jail. That's justice.
And the other cops with him were arrested as well.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they had been formally charged or not, but yeah, and not only was the cop who killed him arrested and charged, but then the charges were upgraded at least once. And I had heard they'd been upgraded again, but I don't know if that's accurate. Maybe someone in the chat is keeping track of it.
To murder one?
Murder
two?
I know that it had gone up to murder 2 from what I had read. The fact that there's a previous history with those 2 guys where they both worked at the same club, and there had been some friction between them prior to the where the cop, the group of cops had pulled him over,
right?
Or whatever point they got him on the ground. Before that day, they had worked security at a club together, and they had some run-ins, and apparently their history, there was a lot more details that came out, which, depending on what the prosecutor does, you could conceivably see it getting upgraded to murder 1.
Yeah, because that's why also, you guys, that things didn't happen as quickly as everybody wanted, because they had to build a case. The police had to build a case against these guys. And if they moved too quickly and they were stupid, then they could lose in the trial. So due process, it has a pace. You know what I mean? But you just have to believe in the pace. And I do understand, with the Rodney King thing, when those cops were, acquitted or whatever, and stuff like that. I do understand that. I do understand maybe a little knee jerky, just go, well, we've seen this before where, the cops don't stand trial or whatever. But at the same time, we can't live our lives that way. You know what I mean? You just can't act on this stuff and then get all crazy. You have to wait, and you have to wait for there to be a crime. You have to wait for justice not to be taking place before you react. Otherwise, you're no better than the people that you're acting out against. Because you can't start saying that it's racially motivated when it may not be. and those two did have a past. So it could conceivably be over just about anything. I'm a creative person. This could be about drugs. It could be about, it could be about anything. You know what I mean? Like they could have had any kind of different differences of opinion.
There was supposedly something going on with a sister-in-law. So who knows? Like you said, it could have been anything. And so it's just like when you were saying how they're chanting "No justice, no peace." I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast. He had on Brett Weinstein. Do you know who he is?
I think so, but refresh my memory.
So he was one of the professors that was targeted at Evergreen University in Oregon, where a few years ago, a bunch of radicalized leftist students took over the university, and they basically tried to hunt down Weinstein.
Okay.
And I mean, there was a literal mob that went after him. And he and his wife and a couple other professors were targeted, and they were able to get out of there. But the university, essentially what it boils down to is that the president of the university that had been brought in then encouraged and fostered the atmosphere that led up to the whole Evergreen University meltdown and the radicals taking over the campus and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, or Trevor, thank you for correcting me. He said Evergreen State College. I think I was saying university in Washington. So anyway, so Brett Weinstein was one of the ones targeted, and after he got out of there, the university didn't want to have anything to do with him, and essentially tried to run him out. And he, if I remember correctly, he had to get to the point where he had to sue them. And it went back and forth, but at some point it got settled, and I don't know the details of that. It's a private settlement, but anyway, he is part of this group that got coined. The term got coined, the intellectual dark web.
Okay.
And that's because there's a group of people like Brett Weinstein, his brother Eric, Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro, and there's probably a couple more, where there's people that are they have these public platforms, and they are intellectually honest, and they don't sacrifice their ethics for the platitudes of a political party or some other socio-political trend. And so they got kind of all lumped in together. And so ever since then, they've been appearing on each other's shows and in some cases collaborating together. And one of the things that Brett Weinstein was saying on this podcast was that if you have that phrase, no justice, no peace, well, define justice, define peace, and define the parameters that you want to see to establish the justice that you're talking about. And Rogan was saying that there was a bunch of people near his studio that were, chanting no justice, no peace. And he was saying that he was confident if he were to grab any one of the people out of the crowd and just ask them, okay, what are the specific details that you want to see happen? He didn't think any one of them could actually articulate it.
Yeah.
And so it was a really good conversation. If anybody is interested, I would recommend it. It's Brett Weinstein, Joe Rogan, and so Weinstein was talking about some of what he sees as the deeper societal problems that led into this. I haven't finished going through all of it, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I like all those guys, and I think that, you know, I'm really thankful for them. I'm thankful for PragerU. I'm thankful for just another point of view that's out there, and you know, I think, I don't know. I'm just really thankful that there is some, I want to say sanity, that's, or logic, or, you know, maybe it's just that I can relate to that more than the other. I don't really know, but I am really thankful when I hear stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and what was interesting to me is that, you know, Rogan is a lefty. He's very public about that. Brett Weinstein's a lefty, and I'm really glad to see people with public platforms who are left leaning, who will say there are vast differences between classical liberalism and the radical leftism that is in charge of groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and so on and so forth. And it's good to see them saying, you know, none of what's out there right now in terms of looting stores and shooting people and rioting in the streets, none of that has to do with classical liberalism. That's, you know, radical postmodernist leftism. And it's good to see people from, you know, the left articulating these things and calling it out. And it's not just people on the right, because so often when you have left right criticizing each other, a lot of people will just dismiss it as, you know, partisan complaining.
Yeah.
When you get somebody from that side who's calling it out, it often gets taken a lot more seriously by people who aren't really in the know of what's happening.
Yeah, and for me, yeah, I used to always think that I was more on the progressive side or whatever, or liberal side, and I think that somewhere, while I wasn't paying attention, things kind of shifted over, because it seems more like what is used to be traditional, like Republican, you know, wanting to, you know, kind of control morality, you know, control language, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, they were going against the, you know, rock and roll and, you know, all that Tipper Gore stuff and
Pro censorship.
Yeah, censorship. And I was just like, you know, that used to be what I considered, like, you know, Republican. And, you know, Republican was always more like big business. And I mean, traditionally speaking, I'm making stereotypes, but like we're always more, you know, business or not war, but more, you know, military and stuff like that. And so it's funny because in a lot of ways, I see the left acting more like the right, as far as just controlling narrative and trying to control, you know, the way people think and talk and act and things like that. It's pretty funny to me that that's how people are, and they don't see it. They don't see that they're kind of like acting like what they used to rail against, you know, like they were against all that stuff, and now they are those things. You know, they're the ones that are gatekeeping. They're the ones that are telling you what is morally right and what is morally wrong, and all that stuff. And I'll tell you, and I'll argue this to anybody. I know they'd probably kill me, but I don't think, you know, I think it's shameful that Antifa and Black Lives Matter brings up Martin Luther King at all.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, unless I went to the wrong schools or read the wrong articles, I don't think this was what he was about at all. You know, I mean, this is pretty radical. This is more like what is it? The oh God, what were they called? Like the Panthers or the Black Panthers?
Black Panthers in the 60s, yeah.
And then like what was the other guy's name?
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, yeah. So it's more like radical than actually trying to be, trying to bring things together in any clear way. What's up, lady?
Oh, nothing. Just came to check the mail. Look out the window.
I'm talking to Thunder Buns.
Hi, Pamela.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm blessed. What can I say?
I guess that's it.
That's about all you can say.
Hey,
Well,
Art.
Yep.
Got a question from Dark Stranger.
Uh-huh.
They said in the email regarding the start of the Black and White Second Chance, you mentioned emailing you through the campaign for the special pre-campaign card. I did so with the Ask Me option on the campaign. Just wondering if that worked.
Well, you're in luck because Pamela is the one that handles that, and she's in the studio here.
yes, Dark Stranger, I did get your notice and made the little check mark, so you got one.
There you go.
Woo!
Oh, Pamela, while you're here, you got to see this. Oh my gosh, the greatest thing happened today during this stream.
What's that?
You got to check this out. Hold on, I got to put my tools down. I got to put my glasses on. I got to, oh my gosh. Well, while I'm doing that, check out Albino. All right. While I'm doing that, look at, oh wait, it didn't work out. Boom, baby, in all his glory. Look at his backdrop now. He's got all the books. It looks like your little retreat there.
I love it. Books are awesome.
Yeah. So D Geekart says, hello, Pamela. All right.
Hey.
So here we go. I'm going to share, screen share.
I'd never figure out all
Sunny
those
share.
Oh, how cool.
Isn't that amazing?
That had to be our good friend.
No, it's Pedro.
Really?
Yeah.
This is so cool too. Did you put up I want to say her real name and I don't, so
D Geek Art.
yes.
Yeah, it's right here.
Good. Yep. Love them both.
Yeah, so
Wow.
she actually, I don't know how, but she must be friends with Pedro, so she ended up sending both. So she sent her version here. Let me show the whole thing. Wait, go small. Wait, I think my Photoshop froze. Hold on. There it goes. So there's the whole thing there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's based on the first cover.
Uh-huh.
And then Pedro's version here. So I'm going to run this by Joe, our animation partner.
Uh-huh.
And because he and I were talking about possibly doing an animated comic book like version of Black and White. So I may throw this by him, run this by him.
I wish I could draw. I am so jealous.
Don't these guys look fun?
Yes, I'm just jealous of everybody that can draw.
Well, you're jealous. I have hate, deep-rooted hate for Pedro right now. How dare you, Pedro, upstage me on my own show?
You got
Don't worry, Pedro. That's just Art's self-loathing talking.
Yeah, and then D Geek Art just showing me up. How dare you?
You guys are awesome. I think it is so cool that people do that.
We have to do maybe a stretch goal. Maybe we have our stretch goal now or something, like a trading card or something. This is so cool. And then we should do some kind of fan art thing. We need to do something like with D Geek Art and some of the other stuff that we've got.
One of my favorite things that D Geek, and it's so hard for me to say that because I want to say the name, is just the whole ink, your little mascot, Inko.
Oh shoot, I should go back. Let me find Inko.
I think Inko is so darn cute.
Yeah, Joe, have you ever seen Inko?
I have.
Inko is actually in the comic as well. In the Black and White,
Oh my gosh.
See, it's hard.
Inko is in the book. There's some artwork on the wall. Where are you, Inko? Wait, I know where.
You talking about volume 1 art or volume 2?
In volume 1. Yeah, so if you look, let me see the comic. Maybe I can find it. If you look on the wall where they're in the office, there's like it's kind of like an Andy Warhol where there's 4 different versions of Inko in different colors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll show it on. Yeah, but This is Inko. Yeah, so this is the great D Geek art. And we were just talking on a stream about like, wouldn't it be funny if there was like Hack Shack Studios had a mascot and had a cork for his head and everything, and wore glasses. I think we said that he looked like Groucho Marx, so that's why he's kind of got the Groucho Marx glasses and mustache. And so she drew this up, and it will now forever be used as Hack Shack Studios mascot. So thank you, D.
And she said to you guys, you can call her Elizabeth. It's okay.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. Well, here, I don't know if you can see it. It's right here.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. So that's her artwork there. Yeah. So very good.
All right, I'm leaving again.
So what do you think of the artwork, Pamela?
I loved it. Couldn't you tell?
No. You really need to start,
I've got such
letting
a
your
poker face.
letting your emotions out. You're very repressed.
That's me.
I'm gonna take you to Vegas because you have a mean poker face.
I'd have to because I don't know how to play poker.
You just look dumbfounded.
Yeah.
And everybody think you were a
I'm gonna
genius.
just show everyone and go, do I have anything?
And they go, oh man, because no one would think you actually didn't know what you were doing. They would think you were some kind of mad genius.
Yeah, that's me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
God, I thought she'd never leave.
I heard that.
Sometimes the old classics, they just seem to fit. So yeah, we got two of these down. So I got a bunch of these to do. So what's going to be the subject matter for Pontificators this Friday?
Oh, that's a good question. There's all kinds of stuff that could go wrong between now and then.
That's true.
Well, the one thing that is kind of brewing, there's been 2 diamond shipments now, I believe, that have gone out since they resumed business. But you remember a couple months ago, I think it was, maybe 6 weeks ago, we had a guest on the show, a retailer named Ewell Carter.
Yes.
And he runs Fantastic Comics in the Berkeley area. And he was on a video I was watching this morning on a channel called Thinking Critical. It's a comics channel. And he was being interviewed because he had waited when the whole DC leaving Diamond and then the new distributors UCS and Lunar were created.
Right.
So he had kept his Diamond account for multiple reasons, but he didn't sign up with UCS or Lunar right away because he wasn't sure what the details were going to be with those new distributors, and he wanted to kind of see what was going on with them before deciding whether or not to use them. And then, when DC announced that they were leaving Diamond completely, then that pretty much sealed the deal. And in order to get DC Comics, he'd have to go through UCS or Lunar. So, at any rate, he still has books that he had ordered through Diamond, and he was being interviewed about how, the reason why he's being interviewed is because it had gone so badly with Diamond after they resumed business.
So his business with them went badly, or just in general things went bad?
His personal. So he had, for example, he had put in an order that had Batman 93 in it, which is a big seller right now, and it's bringing in Punchline, the Joker's new partner,
right,
to replace Harley Quinn. And Ewell had ordered enough standard issues to qualify for some variants. And he said that when his Diamond order showed up, the variants were in the box, but none of the standard issue Batman 93s, which is
no,
by many accounts the hottest selling mainstream comic right now.
Right.
So he said that the order that he got not only was missing his Batman 93s, but it was also just, it looked like it had just been thrown together without a care in the world. Lots of damages, as per usual, according to him. And then when he was trying to contact someone at Diamond to get his Batman 93s and then to get, you know, the damaged comics replaced and all this, he said that there's such a disconnect between the people that he talks to and then the higher ups at Diamond that they have to go through in order to replace all of his product.
Right.
He said it's just a total disaster. So he was saying that for him personally, he wished that he had gone with UCS earlier because he could have had, you know, his Batman books arrive theoretically safe and sound, and his biggest seller would be on the shelves instead of back at Diamond somewhere.
Yeah, because I mean, one, you know, they've been shut down all this time, which is horrible. But then to be back open and then have some like a glimmer of hope. Oh, I got this book. It's popular right now. I ordered X amount, so I can actually get some profit going here. I can make some sales, you know, that type of thing. And then to be shorted the order, or to have them, you know, sent destroyed, or, you know, like even like with the collector's market, even if a corner is folded, like that's pretty much devastation. That's destruction. You know what I mean? Like no one's going to buy that book. So yeah, these books have to ship pristine. So that's gotta be really hard. I can see why he would have a hard time with that.
Is your black and white Vampirella campaign still in demand?
No, it was only for that 30 days.
I thought. Okay.
Yeah, it was very limited. But the book is available on the new campaign, which is in the description.
Cool.
Yeah, and we did add some original artwork to the campaign. So I have those pages here. Let me show them off. So we got, I think these are the ones. And so some of them, I mean, these are 25 years old. So you can see where the old dialogue balloons were on. And this is kind of par for the course for a lot of older pages. So I just want to be very transparent with this. And then here's one of the other pages that went up. This is from issue 2.
Cool.
So you can kind of see, like, let me see if I can do this. You can see where the original
94 version. Let me see if I can get the new version. So there's this panel here. And so then the new version is they're robots and everything. So it's this panel right here.
Yeah.
And then this panel is this one here. But it's been kind of changed and cleaned up and augmented. So you can see, the most of these guards are all robots now and everything. And that the line work has been simplified and cleaned up. And then we have the last panel, which is Chang and the Goons with Uncle Yi. And so then you can see the new version here. So I reworked Chang.
Mm-hmm.
I think I redrew the whole panel pretty much on this one. So I think it would be fun to get this into, a fan's hands so they can kind of see how things have changed and then own, a little bit of black and white history here.
Mm-hmm.
From 94. And like I said earlier, these pages have not ever been offered before. And so then we have this one right here, which has been reimagined pretty much for the new version as well. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here it is. So this is the new version here. So this is this panel here, but totally, it's just based on it. It's not even the same line really anymore, but it's kind of based on it. So there's a lot of little gems like this, a lot of little finds that harken back to the original. And then you can see pretty much the whole page is different from there.
Yeah, you can see a totally different panel layout.
Yeah. And so then this shot right here of Whitney kind of inspired this shot here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of fun stuff back and forth. So if you have the original comics, or if you want to get one of the original pages, you can definitely see where some of the changes and brand new panels were put in. So there's a lot
Aileen
of fun.
Beck says, "This is so amazing to see the work in progress and the final result."
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there was a lot of work back and forth with doing that. Volume 2 that I'm working on right now, Black and White Volume 2, is going to have some of that, but not quite as much as the first issue. So there's going to be, it's going to follow the same plot as the original issue 3, but there's going to be like 2 or 3 revelations. There's going to be some changes, some plot twists that hopefully you guys did not see coming. So it's going to be a lot of fun to do. I'm working right now, actually last night, with my writing partner, my new writing partner, and I put a bunch of notes together and sent them out last night. So I can't wait to get some of that back in. And like I said on another, like a previous live stream, that I'll be pretty much laying out big chunks of the story versus like layout, draw. So I'll probably do, increments of 10, maybe more at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how I'm going to approach that. Because I'm just trying to get things done in a quicker fashion, trying to figure out ways to do that. For me, I don't know if like the way you work, Joe, or anybody in the chat, because there are a lot of artists that hang out. I kind of can go into a robot mode,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I'm kind of locked in to a certain like mindset, I can stay there and I can get more work done than if I have to kind of stop and start, with a completely new creative venture. Are you the same way?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. I'm, it's for me, it's all focus on one thing. And if I'm going to do something else, I have to completely disengage and then, give my total focus to the new thing, which I have done before. I have worked on multiple projects simultaneously before, but I still found myself having to use the clutch and shift gears. I'm all in on one for that day, and then on the other one, I have to kind of get into that mindset, and then I'm all in on that second project. I'm not real good at juggling. Like some people talk about doing like going back and forth between two different projects on the same day.
Yeah.
I'm just not wired that way.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you where I'm all in, and then if I'm going to shift over, it takes me too much time to then get into the next thing. Like there's a moment of time where you got to find that rhythm again, and then like if you're doing two different projects, or for me, like if you're penciling or inking or writing or penciling or whatever it is, on the same day. And sometimes just the work schedule, you have to do those things. And for me, a lot of the stuff has been that lately where, it's penciling, inking, writing, like all in the same day. And so I'm trying to be a little bit more flexible that way. But I think once I go into full production on, Black and White Volume 2, I'm really going to try to stay in that one place for as long as I can. Like you said, if you can get like schedule a day, where you could write, like a complete day, that's like the ideal thing.
Yeah, for me, I learned through trial and error over several years that I need, in order to do my best work, I need a minimum of a 2-hour block of time when I'm writing. And if I have to work on two different projects, like for example, when I was there was a while when I was editing Flying Fortress Remastered for Eric Weathers, where I was editing that book for him and then also working on my own stuff in writing. But I quickly found out that I was having some creative difficulties, let's say, on my own stuff because I was so focused on editing the graphic novel for Eric. And so what I ended up doing was just doing, like, Eric would give me a chapter of the book to edit. And I found it was best if I just paused my own work, focused only on that chapter for Flying Fortress. Then when I was done with my edits and I had sent it back to him, I would go back to my writing until he sent me a new chapter, and I would just go back and forth that way. And then when it got towards the end of the project where we were, there were a lot fewer changes, we had done a couple of passes on the entire book, then I just put work on my stuff on hold completely because it was all editing all the time at that point, and we were really pushing hard to make a deadline. I don't know if you knew you were muted, Art.
Yeah, there's a big truck going by. Yeah, sometimes the deadline will dictate where you need to be on any particular day. which is usually how my life works. I refer to them as just fires. Like this fire needs to be put out today, so that's where my focus needs to be. And when I've worked for Marvel and DC, it's kind of focused on one thing. Like, oh, well, today it's just going to be complete inking and then, that type of thing. So I'm learning on the fly, but I'll tell you right now, like this is way more fun, a lot more fun than I've had in the industry in a long time, because it's not as predictable. And I am doing a lot of different things, which for somebody who's done, comics for as long as I have, I just look forward to, whatever the day brings, you know what I mean? Like, cause sometimes I don't know. I kind of, at the end of every day, I don't know if you're like this. I write a note, like what I have to do tomorrow, so, and the way this might sound weird, but what I do is also, by doing that, I plant these seeds subconsciously in my head, because I notice my brain, and I think most people's work the same way, where subconsciously you can work out problems. And then when you sit down creatively to start actually doing them, you'll find that it comes real easy, because on some level you might not be aware of it, but you've already solved the problem, in your head. And so what I try to do is I try to figure out everything that I need to do the next day. And then I write that all out. And then, I go to bed. And so hopefully in the morning, I kind of got a clearer idea of where I need to go and what needs to be done and how to do it. But
yeah, I agree. There are times where I will, especially with creative problems, where if I'm stuck on something, then I'll do the same thing, where I, kind of write out what I hope to accomplish the next day, and then literally sleep on it. And sure enough, a lot of times the next day when I get back to it, the answer will pop into my mind.
yeah, I like that the most. Like, I realize that most of the way I've learned through my life is just kind of by just not really being aware that I'm learning, like I'm just kind of observing, or, like what I would do, always, and I still do this, but not quite as much, is like I would just have comic books all around me. And so I would constantly pick them up. And this is like when I had, like, DC and Marvel would send me the mailers, the freebies and stuff. And so I would always just take them in and just kind of look at them. If it was interesting, I would read them. But what it was doing is it would always keep me consistent with what was going on. So I would take it in. And so if I got a job assignment where I had to ink this guy, I was already familiar with him, even though I didn't know that I was going to get that job.
Yeah.
But I was already kind of subconsciously picking it up. And then, like, I think all good creative people do is they're able to kind of deconstruct something so they could figure out how it works and how to do it. So, I would kind of deconstruct like a penciler or whoever it was. And then I got pretty good at going, oh, that guy's from this school. He's Kevin Nolan via, Neil Adams,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Bernie Wrightson, you know what I mean? Like I could find like the lineage of the person that I was working with. And then I kind of already knew the camp that he was subscribed to, like, oh, well, this guy's looking at this. So, I already know that, that I'm familiar with that style or whatever it is. And so, not that I would go, oh, I'm going to ink you just like Bernie Wrightson or whatever it is, but I would know where he was coming from. And it always helped. And one of the reasons I always like to teach, because, Hack Shack Studio, I always had, like, people that came in, and I would work with them. So part of it was like assistant work, but also what they got out of it is they got training. I mean, they got paid too, but so one of the things that's interesting when you teach or when you tell people or try to help them out with something, you realize kind of how you do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not always aware of how you do something or why you do something. And then when you have to explain it to somebody, then you analyze your own process. And it's very interesting to do. And so I remember I was going over something with somebody, and I had that realization, like, why do I know this? And then it's like, oh, well, the reason I know this is because I think subconsciously I've always done that. Like, it's just a game I play. Like, oh, he's from this school, he's from that school of art, and so then I always went with that. And then also I was like, I went through this whole phase where I was kind of intellectualizing like things that I can do well and things I can't do. And so, like, if I get an assignment and the pencils are like this, or the artist is like that, and then I realize I know the school that they're coming from, but I don't like that school. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the style. There's nothing about it that's appealing to me. So it's kind of like pulling teeth for me. So I can do it, and I can do it reasonably well, but it's just not in my comfort zone. It's not in my wheelhouse. And I think it's just because I don't have interest in it. It's just a style that I don't really care for. So sometimes I'll try to figure out a way to get around that by, like, I don't know, bringing something else into the mix that will excite me, or most likely the penciler will realize that it's not working and will let me go. I'm trying to think of the guy. Just beautiful, beautiful work. And I look back and I just think, like, I wish I was from that camp, because his work is so amazing. And I feel like maybe I didn't quite do as well as I could have. It was the 52 stuff. And oh my gosh, what was his name? He did a pretty popular run a couple years ago on the Fantastic Four. He draws very featherly with the approach. Oh my gosh, maybe somebody in the chat can help out. I know I didn't give you much.
Do you remember which New 52 title?
It was, I don't think it was New 52. I think it was called 52. It was that series.
Okay.
And I remember the characters in it. The Metalmen were in it. And it was, I think that the story mainly focused on Black Adam. Oh my gosh, I hate this stuff. Featherly. Yeah, I said Featherly.
Anybody in the chat, can you think of anyone who penciled 52 for DC and Fantastic Four for Marvel?
I'm trying
to look it up.
Think of his name. But yeah, he was so good, and he was so kind to me. Like, he gave me time to kind of figure it out. But I just never really could. And I sometimes I feel like I wish I could have a second shot at inking him to try to be worthy or to prove myself. Yeah, I can't even remember like a first initial.
All my searches are all about Fantastic Four issue number 52. I'm not sure who.
You went back maybe 10 years on Fantastic Four. I don't know if you could narrow the search.
Let's see.
Edwin F. E. Oh, I think it's some with an E name. But yeah, it was really good stuff. He's somewhat of a fan favorite too.
But yeah, I just think back because I to this day, I still don't really know what school he's from. Like I couldn't, not that it was that incredibly original. It was pretty cool, but it was way out of my wheelhouse. I still think it looked pretty good, but I've seen other people ink him and made it look so much better. There's certain people like you just gel with, like stylistically, and there's people that, you don't. But he was one of those guys.
Was this 2006, 2007?
It could have been. Sounds about right. It could have even been earlier. Edwin, I don't know what his name was. Dale something. Dale Eaglesham. Aha, nailed it. It's Dale Eaglesham.
Okay.
Yeah, take that, and Dino. Yeah, because it was a lot of brush work. And not that I can't do brush work. Obviously, you saw what I just did with the brush, but it was more that kind of featherly approach. And when I mean featherly, I can show you kind of what I'm talking about. And it just kind of didn't work out. Oh, I think it was who inked him. Was it Carl? Music.
Sorry, that's my.
So feathering or featherly is like you can do it this way, where you can do it like this. So it's kind of that style. So it's very. I refer to it as old school, and maybe that's why, I don't do it, because it really is almost like a classic comic book look. And I always like the stylized stuff a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 of them. Could you guys, Joe, you want to hang out for one more and then we can call it a show?
Yeah, I got about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, I can get this done in that amount of time. So thanks, you guys. I know that some people aren't like crazy about the draw streams, but I like them. And
Marigo Paolo asks, is sketching in blue pencil difficult?
No, but sometimes blue pencil has you have a problem with covering it with ink because it's kind of waxy, and sometimes the ink doesn't cover over it. It kind of just sits there, or like it beads off.
Mm-hmm.
When I was working with Jeff Matsuda, we used to work out of the same studio. He did this thing that I thought was better than inking or penciling with a blue pencil. He'd pencil with a hard lead, and so like hard leads are usually a little lighter, and so then he would come in over the light pencil with a darker pencil. And so the reason mostly that people pencil with blue is so they don't have to erase it. So you can scribble and you can just put a bunch of lines down, and then you can just pencil right over them and not worry about all that blue stuff everywhere. So he did something similar,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a more inkable surface, which is, the graphite. Ink works so well over graphite. And so that's how he would do it. I always appreciated that. I worked with, who was it? I want to say Mark Bagley may have did stuff with blue pencil. And for some reason, I'm thinking
Chris Bocello. But I think Chris just beat the shit out of the page. Like he erased like crazy. So he would like the board would the surface would be really compromised.
Yeah.
And
Couldn't hold a lot of ink after that.
Yeah, it would just bleed because the paper the smooth texture would be kind of gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but maybe he blue lined as well. But there was somebody that I remember working with, and they would erase a lot and they use blue line. And that blue line, when you erase, it just gets like, it almost becomes like permeated into the board. The only thing I can think of is like, if you've ever primed something before you painted it, like you prime it so it's not porous, and so the paint, the final paint goes over it really smooth and nice.
Right.
So it's like that blue pencil almost kind of primes the surface. It sounds like a good thing, but it's really not. So the ink doesn't lay over it very well. God, I wish I could remember. It was probably Dale Eaglesham. Dale Eaglesham. Yeah, that guy is so good. So good. Pencils, crazy quality. I'm not a big like, oh, you should just shoot from pencils guy, because I really do love the ink look. Even if I didn't, make a living being an inker, I still would say the same thing. I love traditional comic books. I love that ink style. And I think Dale Eaglesham would be one of those guys that could definitely shoot from pencils, and it would look just as good, because he was a maniac. That stuff was so tight and so beautifully done. It was almost a shame to put an ink line over it, to be honest. As some people's pencils are so gorgeous. Do you ever see what is his name? Olivier Copiel or Coppel.
Yeah.
Like his pencils, like he doesn't draw like that anymore, but the early stuff, like when he was working with inkers a lot, his pencils were so beautiful. They were like shaded. They were all like just beautifully done, almost to the point where like putting ink on them would just be a waste of time.
Yeah, I found a cover to A Villains United.
That's the book I worked on with Gail Simone,
where it's just Dale's pencils on the cover, no ink.
Okay. Yeah, I worked on, I think, that book too with Dale Eaglesham. It was, I think maybe it was the annual. Was it Lex Luthor? It was a bald-headed guy with like a planet or something on the cover. I don't remember the issue number.
Number 1 has, it says 5 months until Infinite Crisis as part of the trade dress.
Do you have that image?
Yeah.
Let me see if it's it. Doot. That'd be nice to take a break.
It's pretty low res, but
it'll give us an idea.
At least
Hybrid X says hello. Hello. This is Romeo. And Dino, he likes draw streams. Actually, you guys go check out Andino's Instagram. Pretty cool stuff, dude. You're getting I could actually start mapping progress with your work. That's pretty cool. So where is this, Joe? Oh, okay, there it is. Is it ready?
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I worked on that one.
No.
It's got like the bald head. I think it's Lex Luthor, and he's big in the panel.
Okay, let's try another one.
Yeah. And then I did I worked with, I think Gail Simone was the writer on that,
And then I worked on that 52 or whatever it was series with him.
Number 14 or number 25?
Hold on, let me put my pin down. 14, 20. Oh, I thought they were up on the screen. No, I don't know. I don't remember.
Let me see if I can get a picture.
It's so it always amazes me when people can remember, like, oh, it was $4.95 of whatever book, and I'm like, I don't even remember the numbers of the books I worked on. I guess maybe because there's so many, so dang many. But yeah, I think it was Carl Kiesel I saw ink over Dell on that Fantastic Four, and I was like, yeah, that's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. Yeah, Dell is quite the talent. Very, very consistent too. Like, consistency is a major plus in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy has it. Like, every character looks, like they're supposed to look. Every costume detail is how it's supposed to look. It's all on model. Yeah, that guy was pretty amazing. And I did appreciate him when I was working with him. It just didn't gel. So if Dale Eaglesham is listening, and he was really nice, because I think he kept me on the book longer than he probably wanted. Because that's got to be tough. Like, I do know it's part of the game. Like, sometimes things don't connect, and a penciler will request, a new inker.
Yeah.
And in this case, I was really like, yeah, I completely understand. Man, I'm making it sound like I just destroyed the guy, but I didn't. No, there was great care, you guys. I mean, I'm a consummate pro. I tried my hardest. It's just like it just wasn't meant to be. It was just, the two styles didn't quite mesh. And then there's people that you just don't even think you're going to connect with, and you just, the chemistry is undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the jobs that you really look forward to. And there are people that you just think, oh man, I'm going to be able to, this is going to be a walk in the park. I get where this guy's coming from and everything. And then you start working on it, and you're like, wow, this is not happening.
Well, I couldn't find that issue of 52 you were talking about. I'm looking through his bibliography, and the most recent work I could find was for Marvel in 2012.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing some Fantastic Four stuff, and it was pretty rocking.
Yeah, that was in 2008 to 2010, looks like.
Yeah, there's another guy. I actually thought I was nailing it. It was like Paul Pelletier.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to ink him on Aquaman. And I thought it was like, well, it was. It was my book. But I guess he didn't really like what I was doing on it. So I think I inked one issue, and it was the big
like something of Atlantis. It was that big crossover they did with the Justice League and everything. And it was a little sad that I got pulled off that, because the Justice League were being brought into the story and things like that. And there was one of the opening shots was Gotham City like underwater. And I just remember it was a really cool visual that you saw the bat signal, and it was underwater. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, his most recent work looks like was 2017.
Wow. That was a while ago. I wonder what he's doing now. Hopefully he's doing okay. Okay. Man, I've been on a major peanut butter and jelly kick. I don't know what it is. Right now, that's all I want to eat. And I had one just before the show.
Thanks you guys in the chat for bearing with us. I was trying to find that those covers for art to show Dale Eaglesham's pencils. There were some cool.
I think it might have been like Villains United, like it was an annual or something. Because that cover's kind of iconic as far as Heroes or Villains United. But I don't remember an issue number, but for some reason I want to say it was like an annual, or it was like double sized or something. The funny thing is, every time, because the T-Bear vault is just a mess, like my archives, and every time I go into that studio, that book is looking at me because it should have been put away years ago.
Oh.
And I want to say if I walked in there, it would be right there, but I know also my luck that somehow it probably got shuffled and it's not where it should be. But maybe after this, I'll see if it's there.
So when you were working on Super Sons, how long did it take to really get in the groove on that book?
It was pretty instant. I worked with Carlo before that, though, and I really like his style, so I was kind of already on board with it. I do sometimes want to ink him again, just to, because it was a lot of fun. It's kind of like when I was talking to Pablo, he was the guy that drew that great black and white image that we showed earlier, that I will probably show again before the show's over. That like cartooning, it's fun to ink because you can be very bold. Like you can get away with line weight sometimes that you can't if it's too realistic.
Right.
And you can be a little bit more, you can add more personality and fun to the line because it's not meant to be as serious, so you can get away with more. Realism, not that this drawing that I'm working on right now is incredibly realistic, but like realism actually will take to stylistic, like inking, like what I'm doing now, like very, I guess, organic and more textured. But if you were to try to do this on like an animated style, it wouldn't look as good. But if I was to try to ink this in like that more bold, big line kind of stuff, it wouldn't look right either. So there's definitely like approaches that work better with some styles than others.
And if you notice like Ethan Van Sciver's look, because he's very, very realistic. It's very based in reality. Like he inks things relatively thin.
Yeah,
like
he does.
outlines and like hatching and stuff like that. And I think if you look at guys that are a little bit more realistic in approach, like modern guys, not like Neil Adams, those guys were still like, that stuff was pretty ballsy with the brush and things. But like the newer guys, it's usually thinner. Like Travis Charest, if you look at his line, it's usually thin. Because actually rendering, if you're going to do a lot of rendering too, it works better thin. Because I mean, you can do it thick as well, but it can get muddy. Like you really have to know what you're doing, because it can fall apart pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because it's thick on thick and it gets real muddy and clunky looking.
Saw a lot of that in the 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah, clunky inking, yeah.
Clunky inking. And I don't know how much of it was trying to work with the new digital coloring, or if it was just, it got trendy, but I've never liked it.
I think a lot of like the 90s stuff that I'm thinking of, they were trying to emulate what was considered or called the West Coast look, which was the style that pretty much the Homage guys and myself came up with. So like Wills, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and myself. And so that kind of became that look. And so there would be people that would try to emulate it. And there are thick elements to that style, but it's really kind of a hybrid of like dropping back some lines, and then when a line goes over it, making it thin. So the way you can get away from that clunky look is having one, like where lines intersect, have one thinner and one thicker, and then you can kind of bypass that. But they were just kind of, they didn't see the subtlety, so they were just kind of putting thick on thick on thick, and it was just starting to look really big and clunky. But that's okay. That's why we got paid the big bucks and they didn't.
Right. Yeah, I really don't like the trend that has gone on at Marvel for several years now, where they basically have a thin outline for figures and some of the shapes within the figure, and then everything else is rendered through color.
It's very coloring book.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and even when I worked on more linear styles, like things that had, less rendering and were reliant more on just outlines, I tried to be more expressive with the line, because I never wanted it to look like a coloring book. And if you put too much of a controlled line on that stuff, it looks just like a coloring book. Like if you don't put like a line that has a lot of feel to it or motion or movement, it'll just look like a kid's coloring book. And that's one thing I've always fought against. But it is amazing how like either somebody signed off on that or people really like that look. Because I don't care for it. Like if I wanted to pick up a coloring book, I would pick up a coloring book.
Yeah, it seems to me like it came about when Marvel decided to let go of inkers and tell their pencilers to ink their own stuff.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that, and then I think we saw a pattern of pencilers trying to, do inking, but they hadn't had the many years of experience that the inkers they had been working with had, and I think it really showed on the page.
Yeah, my favorite was some years after that. There was CB of all people, who I know was responsible and part of that. And I know Joe Quesada also. I'll just say it. I think he's got contempt for inkers, or at least he did. Because I had a conversation with him once where it was lunch at San Diego. It was Michael Bendis, myself, and Joe Quesada. And I had a portfolio, and Hack Check Studios, we were trying to be I fought against this for many years, like doing lettering and doing coloring in-house, like at the studio. So, you'd have your writer penciler do their thing, and then inking, coloring, and lettering would all be done under the same house. We would do everything. So the book would pretty much be a printable file once we got done at the studio at Hack Shack. So I pitched that to him. I had some really talented colorists at the studio that also inked. And so we had done some work, even for Marvel, actually. And I brought those to Joe. And then he's like, "Oh, you see the writing on the wall?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's saying, "Colorists are going to be taking your job soon." And I was like, "Well, that's a pretty mean thing to say." I remember looking at Bendis, and even Bendis was like, "Wow, he's kind of being a dick." So I showed him a portfolio, and he's like, "You're just trying to get a bigger piece of the pie." And I said, "Well, isn't that what all of us are doing?" So I'm still trying to be, a good guy, even though I'm kind of getting some flack from this dude. And so I just realized, then you see the policy after that where they had the A, B, C, D, E, F, G level of inkers. So if you were on a B level book, you got a B rate. If you were, I think they did it to some pencilers too. Actually, I think they did it across the board with writers as well. So if you worked on a D level book, you got the D rate. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty insulting. What if you have like 30 years invested in the industry, you still get an F rate? What about your expertise? What about all those years that you have invested? You're paying the same as somebody that just came off the street, to work. And I thought that was BS, but it also showed me that there was, it's weird because I think it was mainly done with inkers now that I'm saying this.
It wouldn't surprise me, based on what I've heard from people in the industry. It wouldn't surprise me if they did that to their writers and their colorists and whatnot.
Yeah, maybe they did it first with the inkers, and then they got away with it, and they did it cross, company with everybody. But anyway, the point was that they were diminishing people's, contribution. And then years later, CB's like, "Oh, we've noticed that our pencilers are a little weak, and then we realized that we undervalued, a good inker coming in and bringing these things, up to standards and stuff like that, and things." And so I just remember like going, "Yeah, you butthole, but you were one of those guys. Like, you signed off on this in the day." Yeah. And so now you're trying to backpedal, and it was still kind of like virtue signaling, because they haven't changed their policies much. The books still look the same, and they still have that kind of coloring book, Archie style or whatever approach to their books. And they still didn't really change their policies much. So I know that they definitely don't have much respect for inkers. And if you noticed about that time that I'm talking about, and even current, all the really talented inkers, they're all at DC Comics, because DC still values inkers, or at least they did up to the point that I left. So they never undermined, the inkers' contribution and things like that.
Yeah, I think for people who follow it, it's pretty obvious that that's where the talented, or I should say the top talent, as far as mainstream inkers are concerned, they're at DC.
Yeah, they're all there. And I think Dexter Vine is still like Marvel. I'm trying to think of some of the other really good ones, but I know that they're not getting paid shit. And I think Tim Townsend still is mostly over at Marvel, but I don't think he never did ink really monthly books anyway. So even when he was on a monthly title, he could maybe ink, 10 pages a month or 11 pages. They were gorgeous, but they weren't enough to really finish, a book off. So I don't know how much work he's doing for them or how reliant they are on his skills, because he doesn't do a lot of work. So I don't know. Oh, go ahead.
I can't think of any inkers left who are exclusive to Marvel. The ones that I can think of work for other publishers as well.
Yeah. And there are a lot of pencilers that are inking themselves, but I think they're also doing themselves a disservice in the long run, because these companies aren't paying them full ink rates. You know what I mean? Like, they're making more than they would if they just penciled, but they're not making a pencil and an ink rate. You know what I mean? They're getting a discounted ink rate. And they're kind of looking at it. It's like, well, I can make more money, and you can, but you're also devaluing your own talents at the same time you're devaluing an inker. Because the company is definitely getting away with paying less. You know what I mean? Overall, for the talent on that book itself. I would really like to see less of this practice taking place, where everybody's kind of like undercutting everybody else and screwing everybody for the scraps that's in the industry. And for these guys finally, like these production companies and publishing companies, to actually maybe start looking for real financial gain, like get them into different venues, make more money, sell. Oh my gosh, are you sitting down, Joe? Sell more books so they can make more money. So not only will the corporation that they work for make more money, but also the people that work for them could make more money. I think that used to be the old business model.
Yeah, no, it was. And Murphy in the chat mentioned Rags Morales, and that's true. I hadn't seen anything from him in a while, but I hadn't been looking, so he slipped my mind. That was a good call. Curious if he's exclusive to Marvel or if he's still working for other publishers.
Yeah, for years he was kind of a DC mainstay.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah, he's really good. Depends on who inks him. He inks himself now, right? Is that true?
I'm not sure.
Because he's one of those guys that's very labor intensive, very featherly in style.
Let's see.
But he's very, very good. I thought his last work for DC, wasn't it New 52 Superman? And I felt really bad for him because that Superman was kind of sad. Wasn't that the Levi wearing t-shirt Superman?
Yes.
You talk about like somebody just going, you know what? We're ashamed of tights and capes so much that we're going to put him in a t-shirt and Levi's.
Looks like he was doing Action Comics with Grant Morrison in 2011.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's a really good artist, but I felt bad because I don't think anybody gets into comics and goes, I want to draw Superman in a t-shirt and Levi's.
Yeah.
I think they want to draw, Superman.
It'd be like drawing Spider-Man in a sweatshirt and a Halloween mask.
Yeah, it's weird because I kind of had that feeling with, do you remember Iron Man 2? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, like, why the hell did you make this movie? Like, James Bond already exists. MacGyver already exists. Like, do we need a second movie to see Tony Stark not as Iron Man? And then the theme of it is like, wasn't at the end is like, I am Iron Man. Like he gets rid of like that heart thing, and for some reason now, Tony Stark is more Iron Man than Iron Man is Tony Stark. And I always thought like that had to be Robert Downey Jr.'s ego. You know what I mean? Like, I am, the more important aspect of Iron Man, and I'm going to prove it because we're going to do a 2-hour movie that pretty much isn't going to have Iron Man in it at all.
I think that was based partly on a storyline, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been, but I just think for your second movie out in a franchise, thank you. You don't like strip the character down. Like when you go see a movie called Iron Man and you plop down your money, you kind of want to see Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you, I never understood that. Like if it's in the middle of a run, okay, so you're a creative team, you have 12 books a year that you have, you're responsible of, or for. So you have 12 books. So then you go, okay, let's slow down the pace and let's just kind of like do a character study on who Tony Stark is. And let's take away his armor and see what he can do. That's a fun story for like, a 22-page comic book, or if it's a serialized TV show. But these are event movies. Like, do you do it during an event movie? And then they tried to bring it back like, oh, there's a whole Iron Man battalion, like there's this whole like fleet of Iron Men, just to diminish the one Iron Man, completely like, oh, well, now you don't even need Tony Stark. You just have all these, these robotic Iron Men. And then, oh my gosh, I just hated that movie. And then doesn't even like, just to prove how like, oh, well, we don't really need Iron Man. Anybody could be Iron Man. Doesn't Pepper Potts save herself or something with the Iron Man suit?
In the third movie she did, for sure. She was in that.
It's not in the second movie?
She was in that rescue armor in the third one. I don't remember in the second one if she did or not.
Because I thought like at the end, like Tony Stark doesn't save her, so the villain saves her, right? And then I thought at the end, like she saves Tony or something, she puts on the armor. Because does that one begin with like his home in Malibu just being destroyed? Is that how that episode or that movie opens?
In number 2?
In 2.
It's pretty close to the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, so then, I do believe that she armors up at the end of that movie just to make it even more silly, and that Tony Stark isn't that cool.
Go ahead.
They already had Rhodey, which I think then becomes the redundant character. But at least Rhodey has military training. Like he's a fighter. He's a trained fighter. He knows weapons and stuff like that. So, if you had some guy step into the armor, it makes a little bit more sense. But, Pepper Potts, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, I think it was stunning and brave, Art.
Well, you know what? If they would have set it up different, maybe. But I still think I just hate those things. Like, oh, like DC has legacy characters, so it makes more sense. Like if Dick Grayson becomes Batman, it almost feels like it's organic and it was built into the concept, right? But like Marvel does it, and there's no real legacy characters, so it just feels weird. Like, oh well, Jane Foster is Thor now.
Yeah.
Well, based on what? Like, how did this happen? So anybody could become Thor, and if anybody could become Thor, then what is his name? Donald Blake. Then how special is Donald Blake? You know what I mean? Like, he's not that special. Anybody can become that guy.
What was it? They were trying to say that Thor is not a name; it's a title, and anyone can inherit the title.
Whatever.
Something ridiculous like that, but it's been fun. But I gotta go.
Yep.
So thanks for letting me hang out. I had a good time. And
hey, no problem.
Yeah, thanks to everyone in the chat. Appreciate you guys. I gotta go take care of the Rugrats.
All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for coming in, Joe. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, take care.
You too, man. Later, skater. That's part 3. That was part 3 of Iron Man? What was the one where... Oh, you're right. Okay, Joe's right too. I owe an apology. That was part 3. Because 2 was the one where it starts off where they're... it's that Whiplash character, right? Yeah, and the car race. Thank you. Yeah, Joe was right. So I apologize, Joe, if you're still listening. Yeah, it was Iron Man 3. Yeah, Whiplash was 2. 3 fake Mandarin, Iron Man Army. Oh my gosh, yeah, 3 was bizarre. It's weird because there's some people that go, "Oh, I defend it because they were trying something unique and different." I'm like, with Iron Man 3, I don't think you try something unique and different. Maybe if it's Iron Man 6, you start going, okay, let's start, trying different things, but not so much Iron Man 3. I think it's too early. Nice work. Thank you. We got a couple buys to Albino. Hey, Zach, what's up, man? We got another pontificator in the house. And dude, you dodged a bullet, sort of. We got banned from YouTube last Friday. Maybe Zach is the glue. Maybe Zach is what stops us from being complete and utter savages. He doesn't really talk much, but he has volumes. Like in his wisdom, it speaks volumes. Let's see what Unlucky Skydiver says. RT Bear, hi Art. Could you elaborate on the head sketch tier on your campaign? Is it a drawing of both characters? Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because I do actually happen to have, like, this is the rough. I did this on a Pontificators show, actually. So I just kind of thumbnailed this. This was really small. I blew this up, in Photoshop and then printed it out. So I'm working with the light box on this. So I'm tightening up the pencils. So this is going to be the drawing that I'm offering for the black and white head sketch tier. So I'm gonna try to finish this up. This is the many hats that I'm wearing these days. I'm gonna try to finish this up ASAP, and then I'm gonna work them up on a live stream, the same as what I'm doing with the Vampirilla. So when it's done, it'll probably be on this level of completion and in that style. So that's what I'm gonna do. And in the background, I just have this rough circle. That's gonna be the gun sight. So it'll be angled this way. So you'll see the black and white gun sight yin yang in the background. So the rough stuff is pretty much all there. And then I'll ink it up with a nice cool brush line like I did these Vampirilla drawings. And then I can ship them out to you guys. And one thing too, my wife Pamela, who's my business partner as well, she said that she's going to start fulfilling the black and white books before the campaign ends. So books are going to start going out ASAP. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, these are the books right here. So this is one of the variants. This is the Greg Capullo variant right here. So that you can see they're all printed up, and that we're going to send these out, be shipping these out soon. Also, you guys, we have all the campaign stretch goal goodies. They're all manufactured as well. So there's a lot of stuff done. Here's the button set. And then here is the trading card here. And so you can see there's most of the stuff is done. Anything with the new artwork in it, the Total Bot Annihilation artwork, that still needs to be printed, but not all the tiers have that in there. So the ones that don't, we can start sending out now. And also she is going to, we are working with our vendors and manufacturers to get this stuff done now. So the trading cards, some of them I think are at the printers, and some of them still need to go out. But speaking of trading cards, I do have something I wanted to share with you here. And there's Inko, the Hack Shack mascot. Is this it? No, these are the pages that we posted. I could show them to you, but I wanted to show this to you. So this is the back of the trading card, the black and white Total Bot Annihilation trading card. There's another one that Zach Bradley painted up, and if you were pre-launch, then you'll get those, or you get that trading card as well. And that, if you backed a tier, you'll have that trading card, and that will come your way. And then here's the front of the card. So this is what the trading cards will look like. I did a little bit of a variation of the black and white logo just for this trading card. So I put it side by side instead of stacked. And then I took the yin yang off the front, the yin yang gun sight. And then I put the 25 years up here. So it looks pretty cool. I think it looks awesome. So let me, since I'm here, these, we just added these. So we added original artwork tiers. So this is the original 1994 book. So this is from issue 1. So this is Reed Blackett laying out one of Chang's thugs. So this is what black and white looked like in 94 before the remastering. And so here is, this is from issue 2, page 14. In all its glory. And then we have page 21 from issue 2 as well. I'm not going to be offering any pages from issue 3 because volume 2 is going to be loosely based on issue 3. So here's that page there. So yeah, those just went up, original artwork tiers. And we're pricing them a little bit more entry level, so we can, we can get some more artwork to you guys. And oh shoot, I should show this too, and then I should wind it down. But I think 94, I was in junior high. Oh my gosh, I'm an old man. Okay, so let's go to the campaign. Let me share the campaign real quick because I'm still in campaign mode. Yeah, we're entering into the second week of the campaign. So Black and White, Volume 1, Second Chance. So we're at 307 backers, which is very, very cool. Thanks to everyone that has shouted this out and has backed a tier. I do appreciate that. And so one of the cool things with this campaign is this original piece of artwork, which was colored up by the great Kyle Ritter, Comicsgate's own. And so I wanted to do something special for this campaign and something that would set this aside from the previous one. And so that's this artwork right here. So we have it in various ways. We're going to get it out there to you guys. So one of the main ways is this Total Bot Annihilation poster. So it is 24 by 36. It's pretty good size. And we have a tier for that. We also have the main tier, which is the 3 books plus poster. And that has everything in it. Well, not everything, but it has the 3 books plus poster in it. And everything comes signed. And it comes with that poster. All these tiers will come with a trading card as well, you guys. And the trading card, here's the tier, or here's the artwork here, will be based on that artwork that I was showing earlier, the Total Bot Annihilation artwork. So yeah, the 3 books that are featured in this campaign are the main book with cover by myself and Kyle Ritter. Then we have the Vampirilla black and white cover, which is the commemorative 25 years of Black and White, 50 years of Vampirilla, colored by the great Kyle Ritter as well. And then we have this new Grey Capullo Virgin cover that we offered just for this campaign. We might offer them the next campaign, but it pretty much originated here at this campaign. And so you can get that because we only have one of the original variant Grey Capullo covers. And that is offered here in the Killer Bot tier. So Black and White is a 54-page graphic novel square bound with upgraded interior paper and cover stock. So here's a few of the pages from that from the book. So you can see the book is done. We're going to be shipping this stuff out before you know it, and so that's a good thing. There's not going to be a lot of waiting and downtime for this book. So here's you can see the original book variant, and then you can see the new variant, which is the virgin cover, no logos, no text. And so there's all the new tiers with the original artwork. And so we got that. There's a better picture of the Vampirilla black and white. And so then this is a lot of fun, you guys. We over manufactured these, so we have some of the original stretch goals to offer. So I thought it would be cool to do those all as one kind of like jam. So we have the trading card, we have the 3-button set, we have the stitched patches, we have the mini print, we have the, oh my gosh, I'm getting tired. We have the double-sided bookmark, and then we have the oversized 3x3 new sticker with the Total Bot Annihilation artwork on it. So a lot of sold out tiers, original artwork, something for everybody. You guys, please come check out the Black and White campaign. It is in the description. There should be a link in the description. So click on that link, come by, pick up a tier, pick up a poster. It's all good, all cool stuff here. And thanks so much for the success thus far. And if you could, please tweet out, share with your friends, people that might be into this kind of stuff, comic book, action adventure, sci-fi, spy thriller. We got it all in black and white, you guys. So so have fun, come by, check it out. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a quick plug for Chrono Mechanics Retrofit. They do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. This is a 60-page self-contained graphic novel, which is done, and I will show you once I go back to the camera. So this is ready for shipping as well. It's not ready for shipping. We still need a couple details ironed out with the printer, but please do come by, check out Chrono Mechanics. It is done. The book is done. It is at the printer. So we have the proof copies that I'm going to show you soon. So we just got to 45K, which is a stitched patch. It's a Team 9.2 of Sector 7 patch, and it's going to be slightly bigger than the black and white patches. And Pamela said she just heard back from the manufacturer. We should get them next week, she says now. So I thought we would have them sooner, but she's saying next week. And so a lot of the trading cards are at the printers as well. So we're days away, week or so away from getting a lot of this stuff done and getting it to you. So let me go back. We're back. So you guys, this is the book. This is the proof copy of Chrono Mechanics. So I just want to show you that the book is moving forward. There are obviously some problems with this. You can see that they didn't crop it right. So it's a little too far over on this side and a little too close on this side. So you can see that on the cover as well with the Hack Shack logo here. It's right on the edge. So they kind of had a little bit of pagination problem, I think, or positioning. I believe they just didn't center it for some reason because there's crop area. So they didn't take advantage of the crop area. So you can see it kind of on the page too where it crops out some of the stuff. But you can see the book is, this is a prototype of the book. We have the square bound. So this is pretty much what the book's going to look like. Some of the colors are a little off too. So we're going to have them check the colors and then obviously center all the pages. And they're going to send me another proof of it just because at this point, I'm not 100% I don't have 100% trust with them. So before we go to full print run, we're going to do that. So they're going to send me another proof. And as soon as I get that proof, I can go over it and then send it back or send them an okay. So hopefully they can take care of this quickly. And so we can get into the printing, because the printing doesn't take that much time at all. It's all this back and forth stuff that takes time. So that's that. So that gives you an update on everything. I do appreciate all you guys hanging out with me. They had a good time. Hey, we got Philip. So Philip, I think you were hours away last night from the Lost Pages being finishing the campaign, the live campaign. So I haven't checked it today. So I think you did quite well. You were pretty much kicking ass last night. Last I checked. So I hope you you succeeded beyond your wildest expectations, because the book does look really cool. It looks great. The concept is cool. So I don't know if you're in demand right now, but probably. So go check out the Zaid Comics brothers, the Ideas brothers, and they put out a good book. They're the Magic Cop individuals. So Zaid is late. Stream is over. Ha, sucker. Just kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about. We extended another 30 days. Oh, cool. Yeah, when I saw it, that's cool, because when I saw it, you were 16 something. So maybe 16 and a half, somewhere around there. So very cool, man. So you're at 17K now. That's awesome. I am glad you guys work your ass off, and the book looks great. So anyway, that's going to wrap this up. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out, watching me draw for a while, letting me show off the creative loves of my life, Chrono Mechanics in black and white. And take care, man. Enjoy your day.